Hi, welcome. Just want to make a few observations before I do, though. I want to thank those couple of people that always seem to be the ones that support the channel and the research that we provide on the website with regards to the magnetic pole shift. So, to you few people that do support the channel, thank you very much. For those that are willing to, the link's down there as always, and the link is there also for the website. Right. Couple of observations I want to make. First of all, to the jet streams globally. I've mentioned before the jet streams are no longer holding in their positions at 30 degrees and 60 degrees, both on the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. The other thing is the rotational direction of both these jet streams currently are anti-clockwise, both over the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, whilst we have this band in the centre moving clockwise, which seems to be dumping a lot of the wind density into the southern jet streams. And if we look at that, it's being fed globally into this system here, which is carrying it across the equatorial region into the southern hemisphere. If we just take a look around the globe, we'll see that this band is well defined now. I mean, it's almost, if it wasn't in the colours that it was in, we could be almost looking at another planet here with regards to the jet streams at the present time. But as you can see, the central rift of the wind pressure is moving uniformly into this region here, where it crosses the where it crosses the equatorial region into the southern region. And as a result of that, we have an Antarctic jet stream which looks, as it does now, which is pretty shocking. These things, like I said, on planetary scales will happen very slowly, and that is just purely because of the inertia and the size of these anomalies taking place. So, we're not going to see rapid changes, over a long period of time, but what we are going to be noticing are the changes as they occur, because this is abnormal. We shouldn't be having jet streams that are intermingling in the way that they are. And, you can see right now there is far more activity taking place in the Antarctic region, or the southern part of the hemisphere of the Earth, as opposed to the northern hemisphere, which we'll just have a quick look at. You can see still very fragmented jet streams, non-uniform, not at the the 30 degrees and 60 degrees. Should have a polar jet stream and a subtropical jet stream, and as you can see, both northern and southern on the globe, we have fragmented, broken jet streams, and this is going to have an effect without a doubt on the planetary weather. So it's going to be interesting to see how this banding develops over the next few months, and just something to keep our eye on. I have people which are expressing alarm at the moment with the fact that the subtropical jet stream, especially this region here, where it's crossing over the equatorial region, I'm not too concerned about that. What I am concerned about, in my view, is the band width and whether this expands, because as you can see, it's quite mild in this region with regards to wind power and density, as opposed to the northern and southern hemisphere. But nevertheless, when we compare the two together, the southern hemisphere condition, you can see that there is a lot more volatility in that region compared to the northern region. Could this lead to a general petering out of any significant wind pressure and speed over the northern hemisphere? And that, this is something why I'm going to be following this, just to keep an eye on it. Just something else to mention here is the few days, over the last couple of months, that we've had no visible sunspots on the sun's surface. You may recall me talking about the Penn's report, which concluded that around 2015, yes, I know we're in the middle of 2016 now, but around 2015, due to the depleting magnetic cores on the sun as a result of an increase in temperature of the sun, the sunspots were going to become less visible. This was predicted to happen in 2015, mid-2015 I think it was. And again, there's that correlation between heat and magnetism. When you increase the heat, you get weaker magnetism. And, you know, with regards to the pole shift on the planet Earth, you know, I've suggested that a very plausible theory is that the core is heating up. And as a result of that core heating up, the Earth's magnetosphere and magneto is weakening, and the pole is beginning to migrate as a result of that. You know, it fits the experiment I conducted myself, where we took an iridium magnet and just simply heated it up, and the more we heated it up, the less that magnet held its magnetic strength, to the point where it was almost inert. It wouldn't even move the compass needle at the end, you know. So, you know, I think with Penn's report, with the theory of the core heating up, the increase in volcanism, the increase in earthquake activity, in, you know, frequency and magnitude, I think, you know, all this is starting to look like it's very, very plausible. As a result, you know, as this Earth now goes into its magnetic reversal, you know, I think the causes of this is a core increase in temperature. And, you know, I've also gone a little bit further to also suggest that as the core heats up, you know, not only does the magnetosphere weaken, allowing more cosmic rays in to seed the you know, condensation platform, you know, to create perfect condensation platforms, you know, which all, you know, leads to a positive feedback. And I say positive feedback only in the respect that, you know, the outcome is more of what you've generated already, and in this case will be more water vapor in the atmosphere. Now, you know, I've said before, again, you know, if you're in a room filled with very dense water vapor, or if you're outside and it's a very foggy day and you try and shine, you know, a light into the fog, it's blocked by hitting all those water molecules. And it'll be the same, you know, once the atmosphere becomes saturated with water vapor, it'll be the same for that, in that it will block incoming solar radiation. And I think that this leads to possibly the second theory I've suggested that possibly brings about, you know, glacial periods. I did talk briefly in the last video or two ago that we are, you know, already in a ice age. We haven't really come out of the last ice age, but with regards to glacial periods, because I think that's what most people associate with ice ages, we haven't been in one for around about 11,000 years. And what could bring about these glacial periods could well be these mechanisms. And the reason why I say that is because you know, I'm just thinking off the top of my head now, I think it was about 21,000 years ago, through studying sedimentary core samples somewhere in Europe, it was noted that during a failed magnetic reversal 21,000 years ago, the Earth was also, you know, in the full, you know, throes of an ice age and a glacial period. So the two could be linked. What I'm suggesting here in very simple terms is that, you know, the core heats up, produces more water vapor, as a twofold scenario. Not only is there more internal heat causing evaporation, but there is a weaker magnetosphere, allowing more solar radiation in at that point to heat up more water vapor, putting more water vapor into the atmosphere. Eventually it leads to a saturation of the atmosphere where it blocks out sunlight, and then the global temperature, or the GMST, global mean surface temperature, begins to drop as a result of that over a prolonged period of time. Now, it was 780,000 years ago since this Earth went through a major magnetic reversal, a completed magnetic reversal, and proof has already been submitted, I think, in favour of supporting that with regards to the mid-Atlantic Ocean seafloor ridges spreading. And if you go on the website, you'll see more about that information if you're interested in how we, as scientists, decipher whether the Earth has gone through a magnetic reversal, or how long a period of time it's gone through it, ago. So that information's on there. I won't go over that again, but there's a lot of interesting things taking place, and I know there's a majority of people out there, and it is a majority because there's 7 billion people on this planet that are mostly unaware of these geological events that are taking place and this very special time that we're in right now. But it does have an impact on all our lives. When you start seeing changes in the weather anomalies on this planet, you are going to start seeing changes that affect you with regards to the cost of foods and the production yields reducing. Because if we can't get the crops that we set out to get in a season because of the changing climate, then it's going to have an effect on us somewhere along the line. Now, we are very, very lucky that we're at the top of the food chain, more so than a lot of other species on this planet. Because, if one particular type of our food changes or becomes less abundant, we just simply move on to the next one. And, as human beings, we consume pretty much anything. Whereas some species don't have that, luxury. And we're already seeing some of the consequences of that. I've mentioned those seals that through starving, they're turning to eating stones literally, and we're seeing these seals wash up on the west coast of the United States in some regions. We're also seeing, as a direct result of the magnetosphere being affected, those animals that rely on the magnetism of the planet for navigation are turning up in unusual places as they try and navigate around the planet. The other thing is that I do say it's a large inertia, and you can't expect change from one week to the next. That's in a noticeable pattern. It's a bit like the sun. We've had a few days with no sunspots, but the point is this: the changes are occurring. These changes are beginning to be noticed. It's not until we reach an equilibrium with a new state that we can then say, okay, well, this is the change. It may have took 4 or 5 years to notice that change. Until, what I'm saying is, it settles down into a pattern, then we can say at that point it's a change. But it's just purely because of the size of these planetary bodies. And also, it's very difficult, even for scientists, to conclude what is the actual case through observation. So, that's why even some of these large organisations, do a complete 180 on something that they announced probably 4 years ago. So we are, very much in interesting times, guys. I just wanted to, jump in today. I know it's just been over a week, and just, bring a couple of these observations to you. And more than that, guys, I ask that you pay attention to just a few of these things, and probably mention them to a few other people. Try and get their interest, because it is serious at the end of the day. People generally don't have the time or to afford themselves to look into these subjects like most of you are doing. And as a result of that, There is no preparation, no planning, and complete no understanding. And as a result of that, we see what happens, when people don't expect things to happen, when, the likelihood of an event or an anomaly taking place that affects their lives is highly likely. So, just bear that in mind. These changes are happening. It does put us in a certain element of risk. I certainly ain't going to, try and frighten people here, but you have got to be aware of your surroundings. I know modern day life, it's so busy, you barely have the time to afford yourself, the luxury of looking at such things. So, I feel like I'm rabbiting on here, guys. What I'm going to do, I'm going to end it here. I'm going to keep an eye on the jet streams. We'll see how these sunspots play out, whether they become more frequent, sunspotless. We'll see what happens. Link down there, guys. Big thanks to those couple of people that always seem to subscribe and chip in to the channel. And as always, I'll say what I usually do. Bye for now.